Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to a new edition of Urban Sentinel Live. I'm your host, Reggie Kearney. I want to welcome you to another invigorating show that we're going to have tonight. We got a great guest with us tonight. We're going to be talking about life coaching, okay? And the thing about it, we are, as a society now, using a lot of coaches in our lives now to get us on the perfect path. We got health coaches, financial coaches, many different coaches. So we want to dive in tonight with Miss Sandra Starter. Like I said, she's a certified life and business coach. And we want to just sit down with her tonight. And she founded the Faith Stir LLC in 2020. That's her corporation that handles her coaching. So we want to welcome aboard Miss Sandra Starter to with us. And she's with us tonight here on Urban Sentinel Live. And glad to have you, Sandra. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Now, am I getting your first name right? I know I messed up your last name. First name is Chandra.
Chandra, yes.
Okay, I got that right. And last name is Starter.
Starter.
Yep. Okay. I'm close. Yes. I am close. So again, I want to welcome you to the Urban Sentinel Live show tonight. And I know Chandra.
Yes.
We're in a marketing mastermind group, and I think the group has been in existence for about 2 months now, 3 months.
Yeah. It started at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. That's an easy point to make. And we've, as all of us in the group have, we've texted each other a number of times. We're trying to motivate the owners of about 40 African American businesses. So it's a good group to be in. So. Tell the audience about yourself.
Oh, okay. So I am, as you've already said, Chandra Schroeder. I'm a certified life coach. Life coaching is kind of my secondary job that I do. My primary job, I'm an educator. Okay. I work for the state of Georgia, and I coach teachers and leaders across districts within our great Peach State. And so I'm not just coaching, here with the Faith Stir, I'm also coaching with educators. So it's not just that I've established the Faith Stir as a way to coach women. I'm also coaching educators. So I am skilled in that area. It's something that I do on a day-to-day basis, building presentations and just helping people with professional development. So that's my 9 to 5. But outside of that, I'm definitely doing my personal development when it comes down to the women that I serve.
Okay. Now, what got you going into the direction of being a professional person that develops the skills of individuals? What got you on that path?
Okay, so I have a background in marketing as well. And one thing that I've learned about businesses, and great businesses to be exact, they don't mind investing in their people. They do not mind sending their people to professional development sessions. Why is that? Because it enriches and it brings more value to their companies. And so it's our job to be lifelong learners. And if businesses understand that concept, I feel like we, in our personal lives, also have to understand that concept. We're here to get better. And so we have to learn to invest in ourselves and value these self-development processes.
Okay. Now, how does the process work in a public school system that you work in? How does that work?
So currently what I'm doing, I'm working on some grant work. And so basically, schools reach out, they need assistance in certain areas. And so we are able to establish, what their needs are by meeting with them, having conversations with them, just kind of hearing what they're saying, what they're not saying, going and visiting and seeing what classroom environments are looking like, what the culture of the school is. And based off of that, we're able to offer some recommendations on what it is that they could possibly use some professional development with. And so from there, we provide that professional development. And then we also do some side-by-side coaching. So we'll go in the classrooms and model the teachers what processes and strategies should look like when they're implementing. And so based off of what I've learned there, I'm also learning how to transfer these skills in my coaching business as well.
Okay. What is the biggest obstacle you find this day and time with developing our teachers and giving them better skills and better coping skills to deal with the students that they have to deal with now? Because I know our students are off the chain right now. So how do you handle that? How do you train them in that area?
So it's a matter of patience. You have to have a heart and a passion for the career of education right now. You really do. Because the students, the children are not what they used to be. I'm an 80s baby. So I remember my mom telling me, you better not go give them any problems. You are not an adult. So whatever they say to you, if they make you mad, swallow it. If you know it's out of line, you come home, you tell me, and I'll go to the school and I will deal with it. So nowadays you have children that are having to be the adult at home. So it transfers over into their classroom environments. Not that they're meaning to be disrespectful sometimes. It's just that that's the establishment in the household. And so they bring that to schools. So I think primarily one of the biggest things, which we do not provide this, is really helping teachers to understand the culture and the demographics of the students that they teach, in order for them to better build those relationships with those students so that they are able to make an impact.
Good stuff. Because I know it's hard. I know it's hard, because teachers got everything working against them now. Like I said, especially when it comes to kids. And so I'm a little older than you. I was a 60s and 70s person in school. And,
okay,
when I was in school, they'd take the wood to you, till integration came in 68, 69 time area. And we were well disciplined. I think with integration got away from that because, a black principal wasn't going to hit a white child. But then as society changed and progressed over the years, parents now don't want you to touch the kids. And they're ready to fight you. It was just like, it was sad to see that a lady get beat down in Florida where she broke her leg through the process, So, it's a whole different ball game, and my hat's off to an educator now because it's a tough field to be in.
Very much so.
Okay, so as we move along, what brought you into the area, which is a growing area, business, service, coaching, life coaching? Like I was saying before you came on, we got health coaches, money coaches, all kinds of coaches. They're using that terminology now. So what got you into the area of wanting to work with people one-on-one or their companies to give them the skills that they need to be great entrepreneurs or whatever they want to be?
So for me, first and foremost, I'm a minister. So I enjoy serving others. I find great joy in that. That's my love language, acts of service. And so really providing others with knowledge on how to better their lives. I come from a background where for my mom, success was just graduating from high school and not being pregnant. That was the thing that she instilled in me. And I said, y'all are going to graduate from high school and you are not going to graduate with a baby. And for her, that was success because she got pregnant with me when she was 16.
Okay.
School. And so for me, it was like, okay, there was so much more to it. We didn't really have conversations about college or other trades that I could take on outside of that. And so really equipping parents now or others that are just getting out of high school, or now they're in college. It's like, okay, now what? Like, I don't feel like this is working for me. Just really providing them with some knowledge that's going to help bring some clarity to where they could be headed based off of where they feel like they're going, just helping to them to understand, what is your purpose, what is your passion, why you should be setting goals, why you should have a vision for your life. If you don't have those things, you're pretty much just kind of waking up every day and just going, not knowing. So you want to live your life with a purpose. You don't want to wake up 20, 30 years from now and feel like, okay, I didn't get anything accomplished. I don't feel like I met the goals that I had for myself. So having somebody in your life that can help bring some direction and some clarity in those areas, I feel like that was important, which is why I began to really go down that road.
Now, for a lot of us, you made the statement that, not looking back 20 or 30 years from now and not met your goals. A lot of people aren't going to meet their goals in life. A lot of their desires that they have and dreams and hopes that they have, they won't get to that point for some reason or another. So they are going to be, and then for some people, they can't pull it out of themselves, that stuff that they need to keep sucking. So how do you get somebody to reach down into themselves and pull the good stuff out?
It's a matter of creating an environment of safety, building a relationship with that person, a safe space where they are willing to dig deep and become vulnerable. You have to be vulnerable and face the truth. A lot of times we don't meet our goals because, first of all, we're not setting any goals. And those of us that are setting them, we're afraid. Most of us, for me, I've set goals where that goes beyond what my family has gone. So if I'm not surrounding myself with other people that are either where I'm trying to get or beyond where I'm trying to go, that can help lead, guide, add some wisdom, give me some valuable nuggets, I'm pretty much striving on my own and learning as I go. And so what's best is having someone in your life that can do a lot of groundwork and footwork for you. They're able to give you some strategies. Maybe they're able to teach you how to network properly, how to not put yourself on an island by you. You need people. You need people to help you to get to where you're going. Sometimes our goals are bigger than us. And if we are sticking with people with limited mindsets, we're not going to reach our goals because they don't know how to push us, because they don't know themselves. So we really want to connect with people that are driven.
Now, is there an age limit on being driven? Can you have a desire at 75 and you still want to pursue that dream to attain those dreams that you might not have attained in your younger years?
I don't believe that there's an age limit. I think it depends on what your dream is. What that goal looks like. It may need to be altered based off of your age, depending on, like I said, what you're trying to accomplish. But I don't think that there's an age limit or a cap on someone really wanting to achieve something in life. I mean, you hear about people going back to college and they're in their 70s and they're in their 80s. Like they really want to leave this earth knowing that they've gotten for them a degree. That's an accomplishment. That's what they want. So I don't think that you should allow your age to limit you unless it's just something that's really beyond your capacity at that age. And it's like, maybe you need to just find someone that can help invest in that dream and you be a part of it. You be a part of that dream, but not necessarily you the one to carry it out.
Yeah, come on, junior high school principal, Sanford Williams. He went back to law school at age 65.
I love it.
Okay. Could never pass the bar exam. Could never pass the bar exam. Dad without passing the bar exam. But he did make that dream happen of going to law school at 65, and sometimes I think about, going back and getting my doctorate, but sometimes I don't know. I got to be really motivated to do it because I don't feel like putting that brain power in no more, and I think I've done good with my degrees and stuff. I don't know if I even want DR next to my name,
I think it depends on what your motivation is behind wanting the DR. For me, of course, that is a goal for me at some point in life.
Right.
To get DR. I currently have 3 kids under the age of 6. So thinking about it now, I'm telling my husband, I don't think now is the time for it, but I'm ready for that. But my driving force behind the
Mhm.
doctor in front of my name is just bringing my family name some honor. Um,
Right, right.
there's no other reason, honestly, behind
Mhm.
it. It's just adding some prestige to the family name for me.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. That's a good way to look at it and stuff, you know. So, how do you take ministry
Hmm.
and wove it into what you're doing as a life coach?
Ooh, that's a good question. So my faith, honestly, is all I know. If
Hmm.
you take that away from me, I'm probably not gonna survive at
Hmm.
all. I feel like the Bible has some key principles to our lives that or provides key principles that we should apply to our lives in order for us to be successful. It is
Look,
go
elaborate on that one, that point.
It's a roadmap. It's a roadmap.
Hmm.
Anything that we want to know or understand about life is in the Word of God.
Hmm.
We have stories that we may or may not be able to relate to, but they show us like if you're you have this type of personality, if you're this type of person, you may want to be careful with this area. Look at the road that they took. Look what that led to. So we have things within the Bible that teaches us what our actions should be, what they could be, what some possible consequences could be for it. A lot of people always talk about, wanting to be prosperous. The Bible tells us about how to be prosperous. We gotta be givers.
Hmm.
We gotta be willing to put some seed in the ground in order for something to come up. But if we never plant anything and we always got our hands out, more than likely
Come
we're
up.
never gonna be prosperous. So we gotta really look and dig deep into the principles and not just stay on the surface. A lot of times we just want to know scripture so we can quote it. But we really have to become intimate with the word and allow it to truly bring forth what God meant when that word was established.
Okay, good, good. So the year is 2020. You started your business. Tell me what got you to how that vision came about before 2020.
Ooh, so we started with the pandemic, and of course, we all had time on our hands, right? So everybody's trying to find something to do with all this time. And for me, I started blogging. That summer when the pandemic began, and it was more along the lines of a blog for new educators,
Hmm.
things that they would face because I faced a lot of things switching from the business sector coming into education. A lot of things that were pretty much culture shock for me because I'm like, wait a minute, you still working, you still got your job. In the real world, you get fired for stuff like this. Like
Hmm.
we call this insubordination. And so really being shocked and wanting to provide some sense of support and resources for new teachers. That's how things started. And it did not start with the name The Face Stir. And what I started doing from branching off with the blog was doing a daily post that was really biblical. That's what was beginning to gain a lot of traction. And so I was like, wait a minute now, I might be in the wrong area. This is my passion, but I don't think I'm operating in the correct purpose.
Hmm.
And so when I began to switch my focus to more biblical coaching, biblical teachings, that's when I began to get the responses that I was wanting. And so we moved that and started praying and talking to God. And he literally woke me up one night and gave me the words "The Face Stir." Of course, I'm looking to see if anybody else has this name for a business. I'm
Hmm.
like, truly, this isn't what the name is supposed to be. And I didn't see anything. It wasn't claimed. And so I immediately secured that name. And that's how we are the Faster and we're operating as such.
Okay, okay, good, 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 good stuff, good stuff, good start and everything.
Mhm.
So now, do you hold any certifications in counseling? You know, because I know I have a friend who's a coach, and she teaches other people to become coaches. So she's a member of an organization, an international organization that deals with individuals that are coaches. Are you in any type of organization like that?
Not currently. So that is one of the goals I do have. Before I became a life coach, I actually called a family member who has been coaching for 30 years now in the school
Okay.
system or counseling. And I asked
Mhm.
her, I said, I'm thinking about going back and I'm wanting to get this degree in counseling. And she was like, what for? You are already a minister. So technically, if you wanted to counsel, you can counsel people.
Mhm.
She was like, but She was like, if you're really wanting to just kind of get a taste of what it is, what it feels like, to see if you want to eventually pursue a degree in it, I would suggest life coaching. And so she got me in contact with someone. And based off of that, and that goes back to what we talked about earlier, if you got a goal, you got to have people.
Right.
She put me in contact with the right person, and I had an interview with this woman, and she was like, I think you're a good candidate for life coaching. And I took her program and made it through successfully. But no, I do have a goal, however, to have a degree in counseling. That's important to me. I think counseling is important.
Right. Because, like I tell people all the time, and I'm an ordained minister myself. A lot of ministers, preachers are equipped to do counseling and definitely can't coach, okay? I mean, and you know that,
and know that. We know that.
And I tell them, I said, look, simple areas your pastor might be able to counsel you on, okay?
Yeah.
But if you get into a situation that's very serious and out of his reach, you need to find someone who's equipped to do that.
Yep.
Because and what I advise people to do, if you're going to get yourself into that area, what you should do is get a degree in counseling, Christian counseling. You should get that so you have the tools to do, and not be flipping while you're talking to the person through the Bible looking for scripture.
I agree.
To help that individual, and I think too many times pastors and ministers, they're on the wrong side of the track when it comes to helping individuals, and that's not good for that individual, because a lot of people look to their pastors for that advice that they need to make it through life.
I think what's important is, even as an educator, you have to be careful, because as an educator, you will feel like you're supposed to know everything. And we as educators don't know everything. And you have to be willing to say you don't know it and operate in the area you do know. There are different content areas. There are some people that are good at math, and that's what they need to be, a math teacher. But they can't teach a student to write worth a hill of beans. So you need to stay in your lane. And for pastors, if that is scripture, if that is leading the body to Christ, stay in your lane. There are some pastors that can't coach someone on finances. Their finances look bad. There are some pastors that can't coach on marriage. Their marriage failing. So you have to stay in your, provide the scripture, provide the revelation and the clarity as God gives it. But we are not God. So there are certain things in ministry we can't touch or won't be able to touch, because God is not going to give us the grace to touch it. We have to operate in grace. And so we have to, like you said, stay in your lane. And I think a lot of members don't understand getting this additional assistance outside of their pastor. It's almost like you feel like you're cheating on your husband. Like, no, I gotta give all of my time to my pastor. I have to sit here and get the word. He's the one that's feeding me. He's my voice. I have to hear him. Yes, you do. But God says there's some that plant. There's some that water. But if you don't ever allow somebody else to come and water that seed, you may be limited in your growth, because your pastor can only take you so far in certain areas.
Good stuff. Good analogy. So tell me about one of your blogs that you have written, and just give me a topic and tell me about it.
Uncharted territories. That's the first thing that comes to mind. I feel like that's where I am in life right now. I wrote that probably about a year ago. And it's just really focusing on going and not knowing, and that it's okay to be afraid, because you're embarking on something new. You don't know what it's going to feel like. You don't know what you're going to encounter. You don't know what friendships you're going to make. You don't know what friendships you're going to lose. You don't know when you're on a journey, especially a journey of faith. So it's okay to go in those uncharted waters. They're called uncharted waters because no one's been there. So you go there, and when you do go, you're able to create that chart. You're able to create that grid, that map of what these waters entail. If there's land, you see land out in the water. Okay, what direction is it in? Are you going in that direction? Are you going to go in the opposite direction? But really allowing yourself to have moments of reflection so that you're able to hear God's voice in leading you and guiding you in those areas.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. Now, this is a question that I need to ask you.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Where is the help for men? Okay, I say this because I see so many coaches, female coaches, and it seems like everything is geared towards women. A friend of mine is also, she's a ordained minister too. She had sent me I think through her group messenger, she had sent out a flyer for a conference, a women's conference, women's conference coming up. And so I sent her a message back. I said, well, what? Okay, cool. Where's the conference at for the men? Why isn't that focus on men? And I see it across the board where the majority of female coaches are just dealing with women. But men, we have issues and problems too. Now, a friend of mine who's a life coach too, told me one time, she said, Reggie, you ought to become a coach. Nah, okay. But where's the help for us? We struggle in some areas. We need to know how to get to the next level. So what's up? Y'all don't like us no more? What's happening?
That is definitely not it, Reggie. That ain't it. I think for women, and I've had this conversation with my husband, especially when trying to figure out who my ideal client would be. A lot of times, women attract women. But the opposite is also true. Men attract women in this area. But for some reason, there are not a lot of male coaches in this area of work, in this line of work, for whatever reason. And so for me, it's always, I would like to think a lot of men want to connect with other men. Like what? I'm not going to say I cannot guide them in the area of life coaching, but once again, I'm going to be limited because I can't 100% relate to them as a man. I can bring my husband alongside me and say, okay, let's sit down. And we've done that before. We've sat down and we talked to married couples so that he could be the voice of reason for the male, have that male, have somebody that's relatable, that they can talk to. But I don't know. Like, I just feel like you're right. But when we opened the door, I just recently did that. Like I decided after, talking to Ernest, we both know Ernest, and talking to him about marketing my last workshop to men and women, the men didn't show up. Like we had one man in the room and I thought he was going to leave off of that virtual session, but he stayed both days and said it was what he needed. But I was like, dang, like, but where was the rest of the men at? Like,
yeah. And you got a valid point that we do not show up. We need it, but we will not show up. And it's like you can use a church as a perfect example now. That you find there are more women in the churches now than are men. And so then the conversation shifts around to what role does a woman play in the church? Well, the woman pretty much got to run the church because the men ain't showing up.
That part.
Okay. And so, hey, somebody's got to run the show. I mean, Mark, the producer, said that many men are scared of therapy and coaches because of its history. But I think men need a vehicle too to move along, because I might be wrong, but I see more success in the population of women than I do of men.
I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I just had a conversation about that today with some coworkers. They were like, what's going on with the men? Like, where are they? Like, where are the men that we grew up with, that we aspired to when it came
Mm-hmm.
to our uncles, and our grandfathers, men that just showed up and they were present. They wanted their presence to be made known.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't know. I think that society is really shaping their thoughts. It's shaping what they are giving their time to. I think a lot of them are just they're tired. And when they've done their work, whatever that shift looks like, they want to go home to their safe space and just unwind that way. I don't feel like they feel like they need additional help. Like, I think they feel like what they're doing is it's the best I can do, and that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna stick with that. I don't need anybody telling me anything in addition to, like,
Mm-hmm.
I got my routine and I'm good.
But I think sometimes we do, as men, need those nuggets to guide us into success.
Most
Guide us into
definitely.
success, and we just don't take advantage of that. Now, if we were talking about sports, basketball, football, baseball, anything like that, oh, look, hey, we on top of that, but when it comes to the simple things, we just not getting it. Oh yeah, Mark said some men are afraid of what they call controlling women. Okay, maybe so, but I don't think it's controlling. If I seek out advice and
Hmm.
seek out, information that I need to be successful in my business,
I
and that's
think that's important though, Reggie. When I'm looking at Mark's comment, I
mm-hmm,
think as women, we need to understand, it's kind of like code switching, right?
mm-hmm,
When we get with certain cultures, we know how to run the game. We know how to play the cards. So I think it's the same way with men. I can be very dominant in my area of work, but I have a great respect for men. And so I also know how to code switch, and I may know how to guide a man in a certain area based off of what he's saying to me in conversation. But I also tread lightly because I know that for men, pride can step in the way. It can easily get into the area of pride. Or women, like you said, women can be very controlling. So we know that. So just really treading lightly, and knowing how to really maneuver myself within the conversation so that I can get my point across, but not in a way that's intimidating, not in a way in which he feels like I'm trying to manipulate or control. My brother-in-law is a great example. He loves having conversations with me. He'll say real quick, when you gonna create a coaching session for this? Because I need it. And I'm like, well, I don't want to create if it's just gonna be you. Are you gonna bring some friends? Like, are you
mm-hmm.
gonna bring some other friends? And so I think that you just have to understand and get to know men, and then you're better able to tailor your message, so that you can reach them and win them over.
Mm-hmm. Now, Mark asked the question: do you feel some organizations are less threatened by African American woman leader?
I don't know about all that. I don't. I There are some organizations that are less threatened. I don't know where they
Mm-hmm.
would be.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we as African American women, especially when we are leaders, you have to have a strong sense of confidence about yourself. Um, because you most times will find yourself in conversations or in spaces that will make you feel like you're not worthy of that space.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if there are, and maybe that's the reason why some places in spaces make you feel like you're not worthy, because they are threatened. Black women are very powerful. But not to take away from any other culture. I think women in general, when they tap into their power and they use it correctly, and not try to control and manipulate people, I think that women in general, we have a lot of strength and know-how when it comes to knowledge, creativity, and just making systems work. But I'm always like pro man too. I'm like, throw some men on my team because I want some balance.
Yeah, 'cause, yeah, and like I said, I always think about that. The lack of men in coaching. Because I see all the. I mean, you see the Les Brown ads and the other men who have been out there for a long time, but you don't see your average Joe Blow in the neighborhood guy who's a coach,
Mm-mm.
soliciting business. But like I said, if you look at the sponsor ads you see on Instagram and Facebook, there's a lot of women out there, doing coaching, and the men aren't, and we've got to do a better job of it. We got to get more involved in everything, because that's why I asked my friend the question: where are the programs for the men?
Yeah. I see Mark saying there's quite a few men life coaches. He listed a few, like, Les Brown, Ruben West, Billy Graham.
Yeah, but that's not a lot compared to the number of women coaches.
The market is very saturated with women.
The number is not there. That's why that's why Les Brown walking around making $1 million, $2 million a year. Because it's not that many men out there. I
think it's African American male coaches. Les Brown, Billy Graham, most definitely are ones that really come to mind when I think about African American male coaches. But I don't. You mainly see it, I think, when it comes down to like white males. You see them more, and their attraction is normally a mixed group. It's male and female. It's not just targeted towards males. And most times women, we just strictly target women.
Yes, y'all do.
It's all now that I'm thinking about it, now you got me over here thinking like, if I'm afraid to tap into this other sector, I might need to go after that.
Okay, but look, check this out. What if you're working with somebody on their entrepreneur skills? That can go either way.
Yeah.
Male or female.
My last coaching session was Let's Get It Done. That was the title of it. And we were just basically talking to people about that have been sitting on their dreams, sitting on their goals. And I paired up with a gentleman, and it was one of the best sessions I have ever had. I was like, where have you been? It was very intriguing. I enjoyed what he had to bring to the table. I enjoyed his perspective. I think it's just a matter of us creating spaces where we can truly invite the opposite sex on, like, come join, and then y'all men showing up. Not like, don't just have me out here inviting you, putting another male in the mix so that you're just not getting coached by me. You also have a male voice that's present. But I really want men to show up if we're creating these platforms for them to gain better knowledge on like you said, entrepreneurship, finances, relationships, whatever it may be. If we're providing it, just show up, please.
And I would like to do some entrepreneur classes myself, because of my magazine and stuff and the business side of me. But I'll be honest, I'm scared to put it on because I might be the only one there, me and one or two other people, So you try to figure out if it's productive, because I just think we as men, we just don't take advantage of opportunities like that. We just don't take advantage of opportunities that's going to benefit us and move us to the next level.
Yeah. Mark he got this.
Yeah, Mark get down what he says. Some folks are frustrated by how many people
that right there. I like that, Reggie.
Yeah. And that is a very true statement, because how do you separate the good coaches from the so-so coaches to the no good coaches? Okay.
So for me, I always go to the spiritual side for myself, but I know a lot of people aren't directly guided by the spirit. I'm not just gonna go attend all these coaching sessions. I'm just not. First of all, I'm an educator, so I know when you know your stuff and when you don't know your stuff.
Right.
When you done stole it, when you done took it from somebody else because you done attended their session and you're redelivering. You have to be able to live what it is that you're coaching. You should have experience in that area, because everything can be scripted. You got to be able to have conversations outside of the script. And if they can't have these conversations outside of the script, or they got too many, I don't know, let me get back with you. Like, that's just not their area. They're not in the right lane. Either they haven't done enough research, enough study. I stay in my lane. I understand procrastination. I was a procrastinator, a good one. I enjoyed the adrenaline rush that came behind procrastination. So I can coach people on procrastination. My day-to-day is booked, it's packed. I told you I'm married with 3 kids, 6 and under, and my job takes a lot from me. When I get off of here, as a matter of fact, at night, I'm going back to work on a presentation that I need to get completed. So I know how to build systems and build calendars and planners and understand the importance of taking time to reflect and look at your actions, properly build action steps that are truly needed. Some people have action steps and that's not even what you need to be doing in order to get to that goal. Like you're creating extra work for yourself. So you really want people, because it is overly saturated, but half of them aren't qualified. They aren't qualified. They don't know what they're talking about.
Right, I agree.
All these Les Brown sessions, they attended all these other free sessions, and they're getting bits and pieces. They're registering for subscriptions so that they can get free templates. They're going to Canva, getting a template. You know, they're getting all this stuff. And now it's like, okay, I'm a life coach because you overcame one obstacle. You're not a life coach. You got a testimony, but you're not a life coach. So it takes a lot of skill and research behind your work. When was the last time you read a book? When was the last time you read an article that was conducive to the work that you're doing? And that's what I mean by businesses spending time, spending money on effective self-development of their employees. So even if you're a life coach, you just can't settle at, oh, I'm a certified life coach. Okay, what type of coaching are you receiving? Well, how are you educating yourself on the latest principles and strategies so that you can continue to be up to date on your work?
And we can use our group for example. I think it's only like 4 guys in it. Me, Billy Graham, the young man that the car works for the car dealer, and the one other guy who does music. And I think that's it. Just the 4 of us out of 40. Ooh, Lord have mercy.
I don't know what you want me to tell you.
Yeah, Anthony McCary. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Anthony.
Yeah, it's gosh. We lacking as men. So that's basically saying we don't know what we're doing.
You better start coaching. Your friend already told you.
Now look, we need some direction, men. I mean, we honestly.
But who do you? But Reggie, you as men, you have to sit down and figure out who do you want the direction from. Like, who do you want it from, and are you to truly sit and get it?
But for men, it could be a trust factor. Trying to trust another man to tell them what direction they should go with their lives. And also, it could be a thing of how macho we try to be sometimes. You know, and how we don't let our guard down to really grasp information. You know, and to learn more. You know, I mean, hey, I'm 65 years old. I could probably tell a young man a whole lot about life, you know, and coach him in the direction they need to go in, you know, because I've been through a lot, you know. And one time I thought about writing a book and just lay it out there, but I wouldn't use my name, you know, because
it can't be that bad. You got to use your name.
No, like I said, I wouldn't use my name, you know, because I just, you know, lay it out there, you know, be honest, just, you know, let it flow, you know. But and then so I think that's one of the things with men. But yeah, but like I said, I always go back to the point. I see stuff for women, but I don't see nothing for men, you know, and everything. And you know, and we are in a situation now where young Black men aren't fulfilling their duties as far as the direction they want to go in life. You know, and that really concerns me that the young men aren't, you know, they're not going to church no more. They're not, you know, well, older men ain't even going to church, you know, so they don't have that foundation as far as spirituality where they need to be at.
That's true.
You know, so they're, you know, yeah, all there to pick up the pieces. You know,
you do it so well. We don't have a choice. Somebody got to be there.
Yeah, but Then we got to look at it. Are we preparing ourselves, to be the man that we need to be when it comes to taking care of our family and having our kids grow up and move into directions they need to move into? So I think a good coach is warranted. Someone that knows what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and can see where you are and guide you to where you need to be.
That's true. That's true. That's true. And they know how to, when you say guide you to where you need to be, like they know how to guide that conversation. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of coaching is truly listening to the other party. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because in their talking, you will begin to pull the strategies that's needed to help them.
Mm-hmm.
So that you aren't taking over the conversation. That's the joy of being you got to be a good listener.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that you need to know about a person. They're gonna say it. It's gonna come out their mouth eventually. And you'll be able to ask those questions that dig a little deeper if you feel like they are talking around situations.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Anthony McCary. If I go get a new car, I'll probably call him up first to get information on how I should negotiate to get that car, because the young man knows a lot about selling cars.
Mm-hmm.
That's coaching, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's coaching. I wonder if Anthony has even ever thought about that he's a coach in his own profession, that he's valuable to people, because I've
Mm-hmm.
talked to him in length. I've had him on the show before, and he knows. I mean, he knows the ins and outs of purchasing a car. And
That is such. I'm sorry.
you won't go wrong.
Mark over here talking about chat GPT. This is about to be our new coaches.
Yes.
You
So what you gonna? Hey, Chandra, what you gonna do with that? With GPT coming along, because
had a conversation because a lot of educators in an uproar with that right now. They're trying to figure out how we're going to maneuver around this AI system. How are we going to know if students are truly doing this work on their own? How do we scan this for plagiarism, this, that, and the third. For me, I feel like Chat GPT, for me, I feel like someone could use it or should use it if they are stuck and they're trying to figure something out, and they just have this dead space in their brain when they're writing, writer's block. Don't use what Chat GPT gave you, but use it as a guide of what could be. Don't just take it and be like, okay, I'm gonna use this for my own work. It's not your work. Once again, you haven't done the research behind it. Are you just gonna take what AI giving you and not research behind? You just gonna take medicine that the doctor prescribes and not figure out, okay, what is this medicine gonna do? What are the possibilities of what are the side effects of me taking this medicine? What are the pros? What are the cons? Same thing with Chat GPT. You just can't take the information and okay, I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna put it in there. You need to go back and fact check. You need to make sure that this information is legit and then do more research on it so that you have a foundation and a better legwork and groundwork that you can build off of. Or at least that's my opinion.
Right.
I'm intimidated by the whole Chat GPT thing. I think a lot of people might need it.
Yeah.
But it's what you do with it. What are you doing with it? And if you don't credit yourself, credit Chat GPT.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Now, since your main audience is women, how do you motivate them to get the most out of what they're doing? Because I know some of the chats that we've had in our group. You've given some good information, direction to a couple of the ladies in the group on how to maneuver and do what they got to do to upgrade their website and things of that nature, or just move into another direction. How do you get the best out of them?
I love that group. Let me just say that. Constant communication. I think that is key. Communication is very important. You can't just start that conversation and leave that person and say, okay, I gave them what they needed. Follow up. how's it going? Did you try it? Did it work? Where did you get stuck? Do you need any additional assistance?
Mm-hmm.
The young lady that was asking questions about her website, eventually we took the conversation to another space, so that it wasn't pinging you all's phone constantly.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, let's just take this to another space. And she and I were able to get on a Zoom, and I was able to pull her website up and just walk her through, my understanding of what I was seeing and processing just by looking at her website. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think communication, you just got to keep that open line of communication.
Mm. But we still get left out in the cold, men. Look, maybe Mark will become a life coach.
Mark said he said the area is too saturated. And
Mm-mm.
I've been saying that myself. Every
Yeah.
time I'm around somebody's a life coach, I'm like, why?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. But I have my own thing with that. I feel like some people, they're trying to do it independently.
Mm-hmm.
The more that I'm in the game, the more that I'm learning it. One thing I've learned about with the work I do, a lot of them are successful because they're teaming up with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so even if I got to stay in my own lane, I'm going to team up with someone who's in a different lane. But
Mm-hmm.
we're offering a
Mm-hmm.
service that's going to meet every area of your life. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that all these people that are getting into the life coach game, I guess I'm kind of helping them out if they're watching. Sometimes you got to take a different approach. Don't just do it independently. Like, start building some partnerships, start collaborating with other coaches and building your workshops together, building what you can offer to these males, these females together, and you'll
Mm-hmm.
probably get a bigger bang for your buck.
Yeah. 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 So have you written a book yet on what you've noticed, or a motivational book? Have you done that yet? I know you say you've done
So
blogging.
I started out. I actually this year wrote a just a very small ebook on overcoming procrastination, and just a lot of times people have a hard time getting started. They know what they want to do, but they just do not understand how to put the car in drive. They
Mm-hmm.
get in the car, they crank it up, and they just sit there. And it's like, I know I'm supposed to be going somewhere, but I don't know how to get to my destination. And then once you kind of give them the strategies to get to their destination, sometimes they still are not moving. So in that ebook, it really talks about the various types of procrastinators. It talks about strategies that they can apply to get moving in the right direction,
Mm-hmm.
teaches them how to set proper goals, how to properly align action steps that are relevant, and that are realistic. And it also talks about, just giving yourself some affirmations. You got to speak word out of your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You got to speak those things that are not as though they were, and don't just leave it there. Now you got to do some action. You got to do some work. So not being afraid to roll up your sleeves. Don't be afraid to fail. So yeah, we do. We have overcoming procrastination. I've also written an anthology with a group of women. Sorry, Reggie. It's a women entrepreneur prayer book. And so it can be used as a devotion.
Y'all praying for yourselves. They ain't praying for the men, just praying for women. I tell you.
I'm sorry.
Look.
However, the more research that I am doing, I truly do want to begin to bring men into my space. I want to be able to reach out to them as well. Women will always be primary for me. But I do want to begin to speak to the male as well, because as you said, they also need some assistance. And I know that there are men that root for the face stir. They do. But they know that my platform is for women. So they're gonna root. They're gonna send me messages. They're gonna be like, sis, it was good, but they won't comment on not one live, because they're like, this is for women. I'm just gonna watch out here on the surface. And so I do want to begin to invite them into that space, because we do want to make sure that our men are getting what they need as well.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we need it, so I hope that y'all have a prayer in the book that prays for men,
I mean, men can use it. It was specifically for. I actually have it sitting right here on my desk. It was specifically designed with women in mind.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, men can use it. But it does say women entrepreneur entrepreneur prayer. I guess we need to write a male one.
I
Get
tell
some
you, we just don't get the love. We just don't get the love. I tell you.
I'm sorry.
Ah, boy. Mm-mm-mm.
I'm so sorry.
This breaks my heart.
My bad.
We don't get no love.
Well,
That just shows a need. That
yeah.
just shows there's a need out there for it, and
Mhm.
that's what that shows and stuff. But yeah. So, well, how can people get in touch with you?
Oh, they can always go to thefaithstir.com. Anything that they want to know about me, anything that they want to purchase, anything they want access to, it's
Mm-hmm.
all on my website, thefaithstir.com. They can also find me on Facebook. I'm very active on there. My coach
Mm-hmm.
is starting to push me more into the area of Instagram. So I also, it can be found there. Everything is with the handler, the Faith Stir. So the Faith Stir. Like
Okay.
stirring your coffee, you stirring your gifts, whatever you need to stir. I'm
Right. That
so
sounds good. That sounds good. Now, are you doing work just in Georgia, or you can do it globally or whatever?
currently, I do focus on Georgia. However, when it comes to my workshops, I do a lot of virtual workshops. So I have coached people outside of the state of Georgia. I've hit
Mm-hmm.
people in the Bahamas. I've hit people in California, in Wisconsin. So yeah, I had somebody from Chicago in my on my last workshop. I didn't even realize it until she said something, and I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what's so great about these virtual platforms.
Mm-hmm.
If I can't get to you face to face, we can definitely always do something
Right.
virtual.
Now, is there a fee when a person does one of your virtual conferences?
Oh yeah, especially if I have a speaker. My speakers have to get paid, and I'm not
Right.
about paying them just a small amount for gas money.
Mm-hmm.
Their time, their research, their knowledge is valuable. So we do. The last workshop that we did was it was cheap to me. It was $50
Mm-hmm.
for registration, and that was for 2 days. And we got some reviews that came back in that was just like this was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And some people were like, if this was in person, I would be more than happy to spend more than $50 to show up
Mm-hmm.
based off
Mm-hmm.
of all of the knowledge, the tools, and the resources that they receive.
Right. Well, that's good. That's good stuff.
Mhm.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. I might do a workshop on why men left behind and get it from the men's viewpoint.
I know. Mark put a lot of good things over here in chat that has me like, okay, I need to do some research on this.
Ah.
I need to go
Mm-mm.
over here in this area and pull some things and see what we can come up
Hey, you never know. You never know. You step out there, you might be the next Les Brown.
with.
And your audience might switch, and you look out there. Oh, it's nothing but men out here.
Okay,
You
I'm
know,
okay with that.
you just never know. You just never know.
That's
But
true. That's true.
yes. But Sandra, it's been great talking to you tonight. Just sitting there and chit chatting about coaching and everything. Uh, And I would put coaching and advice in the same category, because a lot of times when you're seeking advice from someone, that person is actually coaching you because they give you the advice
Mhm.
you can probably use. But for my audience, I want to tell you all, if there's something that's pressing on you, you just can't get over that wall that you're climbing. Seek out a life coach, whether it's just for your business, just for your health, your finances, or whatever. Seek out someone. Because we don't know everything. Okay, if we knew everything, Chandra wouldn't even be getting no business. Okay, if we
Right.
knew everything, but we don't, and a lot of times we do need someone. And like I
Mhm.
said, know when to go and get the correct help, the
Mhm.
correct coaching. You have to know that. Because sometimes people can tell you stuff, and like Chandra said, they can use other people's stuff and don't even know how to use it to try to help you, and it
Mhm.
doesn't work out. So it's very important, to go out and seek a coach. It's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong. It just shows how we are evolving as a people and a society where That's the next level where we're at right now. It's all about coaching, all about finding a coach and
Mm-hmm.
everything. So I don't know what's going to be out there next that we're going to reach out for and, dig in,
That's true.
just don't know, So what's your last word for the audience?
Whatever it is you've been sitting on, go for it. Go for it. Go for
Yeah.
it. Go for it, Reggie.
It's a lot of ideas in the graveyard.
Yeah, we don't want to take any more.
Yeah,
Whatever you're sitting on, just go for it.
a lot of people have left this world and took their dreams and hopes with them, and they never use them because they didn't know how to use them. They didn't know who to talk to get it pulled out of them and put it in existence.
That's true.
And everything. I mean, a lot of people ask me why at my age I hustle like I hustle. I don't even know why I do. I just need to just sit at home and look at the reality shows and talk shows every day. That's what I need to do.
No, don't do that.
Yeah, but I enjoy doing what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. Because I'm hoping that whatever little bit I do helps someone. That's all I'm looking for.
That's true.
That gives me satisfaction and everything. So. Again, Chandra, it's been great talking to you.
Thank you, Reggie.
Even though you don't coach me in, I still love you, and everything. I had to put that in there. But yes, it was great talking to you. And to the audience, Chandra gave you all information on how you can contact her. Please contact her because, away from this show, I've seen her work in action and talking to people in our mastermind group. And she would be a great person to talk to if you're just looking for some direction, you need some advice on how to move to the next level, and you need that coach. And she is the person to do it for you. So until next week. The new magazine should be out before the week is out. You can go to www.urbansentinelmagazine.com on the $3.99 buy a copy. We going down into Barbados in this edition for March. We got some good stuff coming out of Barbados, and we're going to make some moves down in Barbados. Just be watching out for that, see what's going on. So until the next time, you all have a great week. Be blessed. Take care of yourselves and be safe. Take care, Sandra.
Bye.
Get some men, okay?
Okay.
Good night, everyone. Have a good week now.